I'm outside that much because
So is the goal for camo joggers to like run in stealth so people don't see you? What?
sure,
No
Chad.
one wants to see your legs. That's the main thing. Jared just want to know how fast people are.
First of all, I'm in a closet in my home. This is for no one's visual consumption except for mine. You guys just happen to see me.
And YouTube, my friend. At least chest up.
Well, we haven't even started podcasting yet, so
That's true.
I mean, wait, I thought this was a boxers only podcast, so I'm.
Dude, box it up. Why not?
I start with the pants on, and then as we progressively go through, I kind of wiggle my way out of them. It gets good, Don. This stuff gets real. I get into it sometimes. I can't help it.
I mean, that makes me happy.
You ready, Chad?
Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 51. Today should be a very special episode. We're talking about hometowns, what it's like in your own hometown, and also kind of what it's like after you leave your hometown, and kind of going through some of those adjustments as well. And today we have a very special guest, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But before we get to that, I cannot forget to announce my amazing co-host, my buddy Jared. What's going on, Jared?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Untranslatable Podcast. Chad is just saying...
Many fregista.
Chad, you said 51.
Oh, shoot.
Whoops. But, that's not first. Spread a little love. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slow it down and spread a little love by please asking everyone to follow us on Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1. Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. I've been going video crazy this week. This is what happens when you have a lot of free time. And speaking of video crazy, the Untranslatable Podcast is going video right now. And the previous episode 60, is on video right now. And I did it, not to brag, but I guess I'm just going to take a hot second to brag. If you want to tell me how awesome that video is, email me at the untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. No the. I can always say the, and there's no the in there. Untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. And rate and review us 5 stars. Hello, Chad. How's it going?
It's going great, man. It's going absolutely great. But today we have a very, very special treat. And I am very happy to announce our special guest for our episode today, for episode 61, our buddy Don. What's going on, Don?
It's going well, man. Thanks for having me. I'm very honored to be here today as a guest on the show. I'm ecstatic.
Turns out all it takes is just asking. Who knew?
Little do they know I was prepped with a mic about a month ago waiting for this moment, and it's just taken them this long, so.
We like to take our time here at the Untranslatable Podcast. That's for sure.
It only took 60, so.
According to Chad, it only took 51.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hey, Chad, I have a quick question for you. Where does one find a language partner? I just want to figure this out. I've been Googling it all week, and I don't know where to look.
Where does one find a language partner?
Someone that I could,
Is there there's got to be like a Philly Reddit, right? Or like a subreddit?
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll try that out.
I mean, I love Reddit in general. Which is
actually Am I going to have to blow them?
I mean, ideally not. If you find someone who wants to be a mutual language partner,
Reddit always seems seedy to me.
I mean, if you want really seedy, dude, go with Craigslist. Then you're really good to go.
I would agree there.
I wanted a German mistress to discipline. I need a little Fraulein.
And
interesting. I'm looking.
There might also be some type of German club or German organization in Philly. I would be willing to bet.
Oh, there has to be.
That's funny that you say that. I live a 10-minute walk away from the German Society of Pennsylvania. No joke.
There you go, dude. I don't even know why you asked. Yeah.
I guess I could just walk in there, but it doesn't seem like just a public place to walk into.
You got to wear your Austrian jacket when you walk in there so you can flex on them a little bit.
Oh, that's a good idea. Hey, Don, do you have any language abilities at all?
I would be lying, but I say no. No. I took French in high school.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I did
time.
too, and my French is terrible as well. So
I did know a little Japanese when I went to Japan back in the day, but that also has departed my my knowledge.
I can count. I know some Japanese, some basic Japanese. I can count to 10 in Japanese.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Ichi ni sa shi go roku shichi hachi kyu ju. I could probably actually keep going because I think it's like just kyuichi, or excuse me, juichi, 10-1, 10-2. So I could probably keep going.
Can I just say that the counting system in French makes no sense to me?
Uno, dos, trois.
No. After the two the 220s or the 420s.
Six, sit. I don't even know it anymore.
Oh shit! I'm telling you. Slipping on gator piss. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's I can't remember 15. I can't remember. That's kind of where I lose it. But then I can do I know 20, 21, 22, and then and then
I don't even know what numbers these are.
30, and then I can do 30. I could couldn't.
How do you remember these things?
I'm smart. What can I say? I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, but I can't remember anything useful though. Let's put it that way. I mean, numbers what? That's kind of not the least useful. But that's not going to really get me around day to day. Granted, I could do that too, not to brag, but
no,
not well. But that's the thing though, is I can do it. I could say phrases to you guys, but that's totally different than actually keeping up with when someone says something to me. I like if someone were to say something back, I'd be like, whoa, can you say that about 16 times slower? And
that's my life in the Czech Republic in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the whole lot of...
Mluvite anglicky.
That's do you speak English in Czech?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Let me just say one thing. I am very impressed you guys do know other languages. I feel not very competent knowing the fact I only know English, and I work for 2 French founders, and everybody's bilingual at my company. So it is quite I don't know. I feel like you guys are a level above.
Are they bilingual by by heritage, is it because of their families, or is it more because of they've learned languages? They went out of their way to learn a language?
No, they were born over in I think they were born in France. There's Daniel and Jonathan. So most of the companies, a good portion of the company is not from the States. So they're both went to school maybe I think in Switzerland, I think. But yeah,
then they're probably tri or quadlingual if they grew up in Switzerland.
Yeah, they could probably throw some German in there.
They probably
Italian, French, no problem.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of French people working in our company. One of our co-founders was French. Or no, first angel investors was French. So there's a lot of language in our company.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You hear it on a day-to-day basis? Do you hear other languages thrown around?
We hear Spanish more often when applicants call in. That's one of the highest level languages that we have to have.
You're in California for those people that don't know, so that would make sense.
Yeah, and I do work for a company that deals with a lot of different nationalities. So we randomly have on our Slack channels can anybody translate this and it's in Serbian or something like that. I don't even know if Serbian's a language, but
it is.
Yeah, it is. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I think that was the last one that came up. And someone pops in, and we usually have someone in-house who can translate just about anything, which is kind of impressive.
Is that their job? Or do they do some other stuff too? They just find someone that...
He's an engineer who knows about 4 languages.
Nice.
Our legal counsel knows 2 or 3. We just, they Slack into a channel, who can translate? They're oh, yeah, I know what this is. We can validate this was a degree from this country.
We have a guy that works in our department, and he's from India. And he does just purchasing of products and order handling that stuff. But we work right next to HR, and at least 2 or 3 times a day, people from HR are coming over and having him translate for. I think he speaks more than just Hindi, which is his Indian language, quote
maybe
unquote.
Also Tamil as well.
Yeah, but he speaks a couple different languages from that area, and we have a lot of production people that are from various Asian and Hispanic countries, and he's constantly being called over. Alex, can you come translate this? And he walks over and is gone for like 5 minutes and comes back multiple times.
Before we go on, can we give our listeners out there a little introduction of who you are, Don, because you are a new guest on our show.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess let me do that.
Okay. Whoa. Okay.
Don is Don's Chad is mostly, I guess, he was my friend from college. We met in our business program, and we roommated together on this summer program thing we had to do for our business program, and that was a lot of fun. We and then now and then so the thing about introing you is that I don't know. You're just a good friend. What do you want to say? What do you want to say about yourself then, I guess?
I guess I can give you the insight of how I know you guys. I indirectly know Chad from like middle school or high school?
Yep. Yeah, we go way back. Middle school. 8th grade.
Yeah. Yes, I remember all of that.
Then, 8th grade. Good times.
Yeah, so Chad grew up one town over from me.
You guys knew each other in 8th grade?
Kind of. We knew of each other.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
We met each other, I think, like once.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
You always knew the people at the other school because they were these always like this, like the allure of.
Well, that's hometown stuff, though.
It is. It is.
It is.
It does transition very well into hometown stuff because that is hometown Midwest. I guess just kind of how it is. You're always allured by the school next door that you don't really know. But yeah, I guess yeah. Go ahead.
You also had like a interesting sort of hometown experience because you did not you were very intertwined with your local giant high school, Pioneer.
Yes.
But you didn't go to that high school. You went to some weird sort of hippie
you went
high
to
school.
Community,
you guys
right?
Just
I did go to Community High. Yeah.
you guys painted and built sculptures for science class?
That's what people thought.
And sang songs for English class.
We had a lot of hands. We were just a big community. Our mascot
Nobody knows more verses of Kumbaya than Don.
We were very welcoming. Our mascot was a rainbow zebra, so I was very proud
way.
of that. I swear to God. You can Google it.
Are you serious?
Not kidding. It's painted on the side and the front.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That was better than our mascot. We were the Dreadnoughts, which is it's a battleship. So that in itself is kind of cool, but then the Dexter
Also,
Dreads, I don't know.
Previous beer of the pod as well. The Tonewood Dreadnought, remember that?
Yep, I do. And now, Don, but you're not in Ann Arbor anymore. Where are you?
No, so I currently live in San Francisco, California. I uprooted about, almost 2.5 years ago exactly. I decided to move there without ever being there before. Made the decision roughly this time 3 years ago.
Was that a tough decision to make?
No, I knew at the time I wanted to get out of Michigan, try something new. I wanted to go to somewhere I'd never been before and where I didn't have any friends. And so I just transplanted in, and 2.5 years later, I pretty happy with it. Good career move, good life move.
Did you have a job already lined up, or did you move out there with a job, trying to find a job?
I had a job lined up, so I transferred internally with the company I was with.
Oh, very nice. That's smart.
Yeah. You get the job security, that aspect. You get the easy onboarding, help you move out there, so you work the system a little bit. Nice. And California's been treating you good? It has been. It's been a good transition, a lot of learning. So I'm in Silicon Valley, so it is the heart of everything tech wise, and that's what I want to get out into. So given the tech field, yes, I think San Francisco is very much different than a hometown that I would categorize. It's a very strange place to be. It wears on you after a while, but I'm very happy I made the move out here.
What wears on you?
It's my first time living in a real city. I don't have a car. I walk to work. I rely on Uber
That's
heavily.
awesome.
It is awesome, but if you think about that, it's the people who move there, the culture of the city. It's just different. It's the appeal of being able to be back in Ann Arbor where you could drive 15 minutes, be out in the country, and have that freedom of mobility. And I think that's one thing about having a car that I took for granted, is that having that ability to be I can just go leave. I can't just go leave.
I understand what you mean. I still have my car, but I also moved to a quote unquote big city, and I've had to train myself and learn that if I'm going somewhere within the city, just don't even consider my car as an option. Like that's the last option. And so it does take some simple getting used to, because even Don and I used to live together in a little city called Royal Oak, and in Michigan, in Metro Detroit, that was kind of like the cool little city to go to. There are a lot of them, but that was one of them, and it was not big at all. It was like 2 main streets, and then some places off of those main streets, but it was not really like a city. And one of the things that I miss most about Michigan was like a 15-minute drive or like a 30-minute drive being like no big deal, and like, oh, it's just a quick 30-minute drive or something like that. A 30-minute drive for me in Philadelphia is like 3 miles. Like 4 miles. And so it's not like a peaceful, it's just like, like all through the city, unless I'm like going to the suburbs specifically, but that's like a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And I feel you as well, Don. I don't have a car here in the Czech Republic, obviously, because I'm not going to buy one while I'm here for 10 months. Although I have to say, there's a company of cars here called Škoda, and they're actually pretty sweet. They're really nice-looking cars. They're
owned by Volkswagen.
Is it like a drive-share
interesting.
thing?
No, it's just a car company. And they don't, so they have Uber in Prague, which is the city I was in this weekend. But in my town, there's only about 50,000 people. And like, there's no way there's an Uber here. And I've tried to call taxis before, and because my Czech is horrible, I always get hung up on. Always.
Oh, really?
Yep. So thankfully, all the bars are within walking distance, so I don't really need a taxi. But I've tried it before, and they always hang up. I'll try to say it in Czech, and they like say something, I don't understand them, and then I'll ask them. Jared knows what I'll ask them. Mluvite anglicky.
I wonder if they just assume like you're hammered or something.
Dude, I call them at like 10 o'clock. I hope people aren't hammered by 10 p.m.
I mean, everyone's hammered at every time of the day. There's always someone hammered at some time. Like, there's someone hammered everywhere in every time zone currently right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's the reality of this world we're living in, Chad. I hate to break it to you.
What's the saying? It's 5 o'clock somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. Or as I say, it's 10 in the morning somewhere. So I mentioned I was going to go to so last episode was about making friends adult style. That's not the title. And making friends abroad adult style. But we also translated it to moving to new places like me. And I had mentioned that we're both going to actively do some things to improve that. And I didn't give Chad one last time, so I'm going to do that first.
Perfect. I
want Chad to... so we've been doing this podcast for a while now. Episode 61, or as Chad says, 51.
Many fregista.
We've done this Czech Word of the pod ever since he's been in the Czech Republic, and I figured, he's only got 10 months, as he said. He's been there for 4 months, going on 5 months. It's time to up the ante. So I want him to take some of these Czech words of the pod and directly translate them to his life. So say, if you go to a grocery store, I want you to say some sort of phrase, like I don't know. For example, this might be too complicated, but say like it looks like it's going to rain, or it rained, or it's going to rain. However you do it, or like, have a good day. I want you to up the ante somehow, then I want you to come back and tell me the phrase that you applied, rather than just giving me a phrase.
All right. I will tell you the basic, niceties or whatever the right term is for it. I do say, have a nice day, hello. I do those. So to up the ante, what I'll do is, and I'm not going to do this at a grocery store because people in the Czech Republic don't do this. They don't make small talk like, us three as Midwesterners. You can make small talk at the grocery store and nobody will really bat an eye. But I was talking to one of my students, and they were on the bus and they were talking about some like computer game they're into, and this guy overheard them and tried to jump in the conversation. And they were like, what is this guy doing? Like, this is so weird. So what I will do is I know, right? As a Midwesterner, it hurts. It hurts to hear that. But
Jared is so happy, though. He's like, I should move there right away.
Right, yeah.
I've probably been one of the ones to give that sort of up and down look like, can I help you here?
Right.
Пожалуйста.
But I'll go to my favorite pub this week. And there it's pretty normal to be social. So I'll go there, maybe with a student, maybe by myself, depends on how brave I feel. And I'll try to speak some Czech, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll report back to you next episode.
Okay. All right.
So can you recap your homework? Because I'm also curious to see how your homework went.
So my homework was to just apply some of these phrases because I had a party I had to go to, and I had to apply some of these action items we talked about last episode. And so I went to this party, and it was a graduation party, a college graduation party. Someone was graduating from college.
For those of you that so enthusiastic, Jared, you just
sorry. By the way.
Can you tell Don what the actual homework was? Like, give more specific details.
To strike up conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To strike up conversation with someone, and the action item really was to like get like a contact, and not like some sort of hook up with some chick thing, but like
make a friend.
Purely platonic. This is not some pickup artist show we run here. Slightly neg the person.
Oh god.
And then give them a backhanded compliment. So it was a sorry. The reason I look like that is I forgot that I'm actually on video now. By the way, go to our YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast on YouTube, and see me look like I'm very uninterested on YouTube. So there was this party, and it was a graduation party for someone graduating college. First of all, I've never felt so old in my life. I'm 26. I don't feel old. If you were to see the cleanliness of my kitchen right now, you'd be like, this person is like Home Alone status age. Like it's a disaster in my home right now. Clothes on my sofa. But anyway, I'm 26. I'm an adult, and these fucking children.
Whoa, you're an adult. I don't know about that. Well, I don't know if
these fucking children made it clear. So I went to this party, and so I realized I'm terrible at like I hate the idea of striking up conversation. So like I didn't just want to like stand around. So I went to go sit on a comfortable sofa, and I kind of just sat there on my own for. It was fine. I'm not complaining. The hardest part is not going on my phone because I'm fine sitting alone. But once I'm on my phone, it's not a good look.
Right.
So you got to sit there. But I'm also fine just sitting here. I don't need people to talk to me. But in my head, I'm like, I have to record a podcast tomorrow in 2 days. I can't come back saying I found some hilarious things on Twitter.
I mean, that would also be good, but that wasn't the homework.
So the host of this party, not the one graduating, but the place whose house it was at, she came up to me, and we were talking for a good bit, and she mentioned, she's like, oh, so you're not in college, you're like you actually have like a real job, right? And I was like, yes, I do. She's like, how old are you? I was like 26. And she's like, wow. Not the first wow I got that night after hearing 26, by the way. It really got old. And she's like, so she was almost like interviewing me. She's like, I just want to know what it's like to like live on your own and support yourself. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, I entertained the conversation because it was a fine conversation, but it was just like, well, I'm not 62. I was like, it was so ridiculous. And then
or 51.
She was nice and whatever. We had a nice conversation. She was fun. She kind of actually, she was younger than me, obviously. She was probably like 22, I think. But she reminded me of like most of my aunts. She was very aunt-like. And I heard after from one of her friends that everyone calls her Aunt Nessa. Her name's Vanessa. So I was like, oh, okay. Makes sense. Anyway, another dude who looks like Corbin Blue. Have you guys seen High School Musical?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Light-skinned black dude with the hair. That's Corbin Blue. Dude looks like him. You know, imagine if if you've only seen Mission Impossible and you see Tom Cruise and you imagine that he's 6'2", and then you see him in in person and you realize he's 5'6". That was the version of Corbin Blue that I saw. He was bigger than that, but he wasn't 5'6". But so this guy and I started talking. And the first point of conversation was we started talking, and once again he asked me, "Oh, how old are you?" And I was like 26. He's like, "Wow, this dude was 21." And I was like, "Jesus, dude, oh my god." But anyway, we started talking about music. Turns out he plays guitar and bass.
Nice.
He plays in church. He talks about how he loves to jam, and I told him how I like the idea of jamming.
Yes.
And you and I always talk about jamming.
Yes.
But I'm always terrified because I'm always terrified to jam with people like you, for example, Chad, because you've been playing since you're a child, and you've been jamming all your life, and I've only been playing for 3 years. And he was saying how that's how he started, was like by embarrassing himself, just jamming with people way out of his league and stuff like that. And after all of that, I never, and so we had a great conversation about music and all that stuff. And he asked me, like I mentioned that I was a car nerd because I mentioned my job is car related. And he's like, oh, have you heard of regular car reviews? I was like, yeah, I watch their YouTube videos and listen to their podcast all the time. And so we talked about that. And so we had a bunch of stuff in common. And he was he was kind of nerdy. I kind of felt like I saw myself in him. This didn't help with the feeling like an old person, by the way. He was talking about this girl he had a crush on. And he was talking about how she was she kept saying she wasn't interested in a relationship, but he clearly he was really into her. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. Then at the end of it, I was like, dude, get out of it. I was like, don't even waste your time. Like, she's not you're not. I understand where you're coming from because I've been there at least 48 times, but it's just not. It's not going to go the way you hope it's going to go. Like he played a playlist during the party. It was a nice playlist that fit with the theme of the party. It wasn't weird, but it was clearly he was a playlist he made just for her. And I was like, bro, you're way too into this girl. She does not. You're way too into this. It was hard, but I liked him. And after all of that, by the way, the main point of the assignment was and I was like, I should clearly get this guy's number and try to jam with him or something. I didn't do that.
Oh no, Jared.
However, I do know a friend of his, so maybe I'll weasel my way back in because I should have. But it's weird for me to ask some, honestly, and this is not
There's
even just
nothing weird. Be like, yeah, let's jam
just
sometime.
A masculinity thing. It's masculinity thing. It's weird for me to ask anyone, hey, can I get hey, let me get your number so we can, because I'm I always think I'm getting the wrong
That's why you don't ask for your
vibe.
number. You go, hey, let's jam. What's the best way to contact you?
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
but the fact he is 21, he might ask for your Snapchat or something because I've heard that's a thing nowadays. Is that they?
That's how Jared and I used to.
He has Instagram.
That's how Jared and I used to communicate. Oh, nice.
We used to communicate with Snapchat.
Yeah, you and I did. Yeah.
Okay. I did, but they got to a point where I just got sick of it because I hated that fact that I had to take a selfie every time.
I mean, you don't have to.
I'd actually fully deleted my Snapchat. Yeah, usually it's the dick pic. No, sorry. I actually fully.
Oh God.
I fully deleted my Snapchat about a year ago, and that's actually maybe a little less. But whenever I got Instagram, I got rid of Snapchat. I was like, Instagram's a better Snapchat. I got the stories.
Instagram. Finally.
And I never snap people directly anyway, so who cares?
You were just a silent creeper on Snapchat. I know.
Yeah, so I just creep on Instagram instead. There's more pictures to look at.
That's fair.
Gross.
That's fair. And did you get to your other homework assignment?
What was the other one?
You got to remember. You got to go out alone. Go to a bar alone.
Oh, I didn't do that. Sorry, I didn't do that.
It's all right. I figured that was too much for one weekend. So
I actually was pretty tired. I went to bed surprisingly early yesterday. I went to bed at 11 o'clock, which is shockingly early for a Saturday for me.
Nice.
Jesus. I was in bed by 9 o'clock.
Oh,
usually
nice.
On a weekend, I go to bed at 3.
Yeah, I was in bed at 4 on Saturday 4 on Friday night. Well, I guess it'd be Saturday morning and 2 on Saturday.
Many fregista.
We have a winner.
I guess so. Actually, I got a quick little story I want to tell you, Jared. Did I mention that I was going to that secret bar in Prague during our last episode?
I think you mentioned you were hanging out with David in Prague. I don't know if you mentioned you're going to the bar specifically.
So let me paint this
David's
picture.
Instagram.
Right. Let me paint this picture for Don and for our listeners out there. So I met a guy through couch surfing, which is also something we talked about in the last episode. It's a good platform to meet people. And we went to this one bar, which was pretty cool, but it was really crowded. And so he said, well, I have a guy who owns it's kind of like a speakeasy in Prague. Let's just go there. So I was like, oh, sweet. Okay, sounds good. So we go in there, and it literally looks like an apartment. I'm not going to say where it is in Prague because I don't want to rat out the owners or anything because it's awesome. And so, you go there, and it's pay as you go. So, you buy a beer, you want to pay $1 for your beer, you can pay $1. You want to pay $5 for your beer, you can pay $5. And they have beer, they have liquor. But the coolest thing about this place is they have guitars and bass and ukulele and a bunch of different instruments just hanging on the wall, and you can just grab them and play them.
Oh,
yeah, it's really awesome. And so it's got this really kind of hippie bohemian vibe to it. It's awesome. And so I went there with my buddy David, and there was actually a band playing this time. It was a trio. And I kid you guys not, they sounded kind of like maybe a bit of a grungier version of the Black Keys.
Okay.
So they were
I like the
awesome.
Black
Like the
Keys.
guitar player was playing with a slide, and it was awesome. Anyways, after their set got done at midnight, though, because there are like noise violation codes, and after midnight the music can't be super loud, and so
Especially if you own an illegal bar.
True. But what was really fun was I was sitting there, and then I wasn't going to play anything because there were a lot of people there, and I don't like being that guy that like just immediately picks up a guitar and like I don't want to be that guy and like the movie Animal
Ron
House.
Burgundy. Oh,
Well, Ron Burgundy's another level. But
I'm
you know
not
they
prepared.
right, but they had a Stratocaster, which is like a Jimi Hendrix kind of style guitar, right? And so I'm like, well, what should I even play? And I was like, well, I'll play some Jimi Hendrix. So I played some Jimi Hendrix. I started playing it, and this guy just came up to the microphone and started singing with me. And this dude had some pipes, some serious
this is
pipes.
awesome.
We played Wind Cries Mary, and his voice was amazing. And then we played a couple other songs as well, and it was awesome. It was just a really cool vibe. It's a great place.
Was
to
there
be.
a drums ever?
Yeah, we played. Then we played "Sunshine of Your Love" by Cream, and then a drummer hopped on there. So it was fun though.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome time. It was great.
You know, when I that's what I want as far as someone that is learning to play piano. That's all I really want out of it, is to be able to do stuff like that on the weekends, or go to places like that and just play stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do they have in either of your cities, or have you ever heard of this, like little at-home performances? It's a big thing that one of my neighbors used to throw. He used to invite me to all these things where him and a few buddies would get a few people together, and they'd all perform at like an apartment on like a Wednesday night, and they'd invite all their friends over.
Clearly, Don doesn't
exactly
listen to the Untranslatable podcast.
I don't know the name of it though.
Or Don doesn't listen to our conversations that we have on the phone. I went to one of those a couple weeks ago. But mine are chamber concerts. I go to classical ones.
No, yours was just the piano ones, right? The one with your
piano
teacher?
There's violins and but there's violins and cellos and other instruments as well. Yeah. It's not just piano.
Well, what are those called?
Chamber concerts.
Well, the ones I go to are called chamber concerts, but the ones you're talking about, there are ones that are not just like classical ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
When I went to Chad, did I mention that I went? I did mention that I went to and I saw that play.
Yeah.
That play at that Amish play that really taught that really got me considering Amish life. Amish life with a turbocharger. That's how I'd see it, because I still need a car.
Right.
Those rickety carriages are ridiculous to me.
You can put turbo on that?
yeah. Blow up a wheel. Anyway, so one of the women that was there, she goes to those kind of things, and people actually bring art that they make and they sell it there. But then there are also people that'll do like modern people music, like they'll do like maybe it'll be some sort of hip hop or spoken word, or someone will have like some sort of jazz, or more essentially just modern music. But what you're saying, and that was another example of a situation where she was telling me about this stuff, and she does in Philadelphia, and I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. I would love to go to stuff like that, and I never got her information.
That's not a surprise.
Yeah,
I felt it feels wrong to be like she's not inviting me; she's just telling me about it.
Just ask her, be informative, put the ball in her court. That's all you gotta do. You're not being too. If you just put the ball in their court, you're not being too overbearing. You're not being like, come on.
Asking costs nothing, as Annabelle would say, Jared.
That is true. That is a good point.
So.
This is not about me. I don't like this.
That's fair. We're ganging up on you. I feel kind of bad.
Fair, actually. But yeah. So anyway, hey, let's not make it about me and spread a little love.
All right. Well, I got two shout outs today. I was going to do a couple other shout outs to different people and restaurants that were helping out people during the government shutdown. But at this point, I don't want to sound like a broken record. But a side shout out to all of those people helping everybody in need right now because of the government shutdown. I still can't believe it's still going on.
By the way, remember last episode? I was wondering if it would still be valid by the time the episode comes out. It looks like it's still valid.
Yep. Unfortunately, but this is a great story. This is kind of an uplifting story. There's an 11-year-old girl who has spent. Basically, so her name is Bella Bareilles. She's a fifth grader in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and she's sold more than 500 of her handmade I guess, sugar body scrubs. Like, I would think it's like a soap or something. But she's been supporting her family while her mom has not been getting a paycheck. So shout out to her.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, dude. Talk about serious drive, motivation, helping the family out. And she
Supporting
says
her family at 11?
Yep.
And actually,
yep.
It seems like she's actually balling while she does it.
Right.
Like,
And
she's
right
not
here,
just supporting them. She's actually like, hey, treat yourself. Treat yourself to something special, Mom.
And she was actually on Good Morning
Pretty good
America,
week.
and she said, I came up with the idea because I found out my mom was furloughed. And I was like,
My
what
mom's
can I...
dry ass skin was hard to look at.
What can I do to help? So she is 11 years old, start her business, and good for her. I mean, it's great to see a young person with so much drive and trying to solve a problem in a practical way. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I think that's great.
I'm always jealous of anyone that's that young and that entrepreneurial.
Oh, for sure.
And because I don't think that would even cross my mind at that age. I would have been like, well, looks like we're all gonna die. It's been a good run.
But you weren't put in that situation. See, I think there's also
That's
the
fair.
situational aspect.
Yeah, good
of it
point.
That's a good point.
I ran my own business when I started like 10 or 11. I was cutting lawns, man. Just because I had a lawnmower, I want to make. But that was the situation I was in. There was grasses to be cut.
Right.
Was there ever a need to support your family? Like,
No.
was your?
It was more
never
just
like
for spending money, right?
Yeah, it was my dad teaching me how to work, and then.
Oh, I'm jealous of that too. By the way, I'm also just jealous of that entrepreneurial spirit in general. Whether you have to support your family or not,
yeah.
starting that young.
Definitely.
We talked about a while ago. Chad and I talked about this kid. I can't remember what his name is, but he has a YouTube channel and he's 8, and he makes $22 million a year.
Is it the dude that reviews like toys?
Yep.
Yeah, his name's like
Yep.
Ryan or something like that.
Yep.
I don't remember what it is. But he probably makes way more than his parents.
At least he does something productive, not like little Tay. I don't know if you guys have ever talked about that Instagram.
Well, I mean, we haven't talked. I don't know how much we haven't dedicated an episode to her.
Good.
But, I'm sure the names come up. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, how productive is? I mean, I'm not gonna shit on this kid in comparison to little Tay, but how productive is reviewing toys?
It's massive. My boss's kids watch those videos all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
My nephews do too.
I've seen the numbers.
My nephews do too.
I've seen the numbers.
Yeah.
It looks like every kid does.
Right. Most definitely. And to me, like, for once, I'm actually going to say something positive about the United States. Usually, Jared and I tend to say a lot of negative things about
Chad,
the U.S.
Not me. I love the United States.
God damn it, Jared. But I think this entrepreneurial spirit is like kind of the core of a lot of the cool things about the United States. You know, I mean, or do you guys think I'm just like blowing smoke?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Dream.
That's
Right.
true.
Well, you know, because I totally think you're right. I think that, you know, it goes along with us valuing work and us kind of putting work above everything, and seeing someone figure out that young and make money. You know, it comes back to people valuing money. But yeah, I think people are highly encouraged to do that kind of stuff here.
Right.
I
think another thing that's also a beautiful thing about the United States is people willing to help out others in need. And this leads me to my second shout out today. There is a church in North Texas that paid off the entire school district's lunch debt. So this was the Royce City First United Methodist Church. They donated their Christmas Eve offerings to charity. They do this every year. And this year, the pastor, Chris Everson, went to the church board to ask about taking this tradition a step further. And so they ended up paying for the entire school district's debt for food, which I think is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Parada.
That's crazy.
So I think that's great. There's no reason why any kid, regardless of their economic situation, or well, really their family's economic situation, they shouldn't be able to eat for lunch. You know, I think that's.
I think I'd feel better about a lot of churches if I saw. If I think people in general feel better about churches if they saw like all that money that was used for tithing and stuff being directly used for good like that.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe there are more examples and I'm just not paying attention.
But I think we also hear about the negative parts of it more than the positive parts, and so that's might be BYOJ in a certain way.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
No, that's a great point.
I mean, I'd also like to hear about less child abuse as well, just in general. But you didn't say this was a Catholic church specifically.
It's a United Methodist church. So little different, but I'm sure they got their own problems.
Slipping on gator piss.
But now it's time for one of, I think it's safe to say, Jared's and my favorite parts of this podcast. It is time for the beer review of the pod. And you know, Jared, my choices are starting to thin out a little bit in the Czech Republic. You know?
Yeah, you're limited. I could do this all day long.
Yeah.
Like I have an endless supply of
You could do
choices.
2 beer reviews every episode and not run out of beer for the next probably 2 or 3 years. But
there are whole beer stores I haven't even gone to yet.
Right. But I found a new one, and I've never seen this before. Well, I've seen it before, but I've never tried it.
Conrad?
It's called Conrad.
Okay.
And it is an original Czech lager beer, which it says in English. And really, Jared, I should have got this for the last episode, because if you look at the bottom, it has the word for beer in a bunch of different languages.
What's pivo?
Yeah,
Pivo is Czech for beer.
Oh, okay.
That's Czech for beer. So you have pivo, you have beer, you have bier, which is German, biere, which I think is French, birra, which might be Italian.
2 R's and an E is
All
Italian,
sound
I
the same
think.
way.
Yep, right. But then you have cerveza and
Cerveza,
cerveja,
Spanish.
which is Spanish and Portuguese.
Probably Portuguese.
Yes. But interesting, though, this won in 2013 the World Beer Awards, World's Best Gold. So you can see that right there.
Ooh.
So,
Shout out.
So I've never tried this before, but I saw the can, and the kind of red and orangish yellow kind of stuck out to me right when I saw it, and I was like, ooh, I'll give this bad boy a try. So it's an original Czech lager beer. We'll do the 3 taps as tradition goes.
We don't need any accidents happening.
That's
around
true.
all this electrical equipment.
Right? So we'll pour this bad boy in here and see. So it's already just off the bat. Honestly, man, when I see this, I almost think of a Hefeweizen. I'll pour it so you guys can see as well. It's got a very gold tint to it. Very gold tint to it.
Put it up near the mic. Let me hear the bubbles.
I don't know if you're going to be able to hear anything, but I'm trying.
It was very satisfying hearing you pour it in. I was hoping to hear a little bit of the carbonation.
Let me hear the
But
bubbles.
yeah, so see, it's got a nice gold color to it.
It does.
In terms of smell,
If you want to see that gold color, look at the video podcast
That's
on
right.
YouTube. By the way, I'm really confident, because I'm not even sure that I know how to put 3 of us together in one yet.
You'll figure it
And
out.
I'm real confident that I'm going to figure it out. When
You're a
as
smart
I say
guy.
this.
honestly, in terms of smell, this to me smells a lot like an American lager.
Maybe why
Like
there's English on it. Just
saying. It seems kind of light, has a slight hoppiness to it. I don't know, but it looks good. Let's give it a sip and see what we think. All right. I stand by what I say. I think it's a little bit sweeter than a Pilsner Urquell, which, have you ever tried that beer before, Don?
No.
It's not too bad. It's better here in the Czech Republic, though.
You might have not even noticed it.
That's
Maybe.
true.
Because you might actually, like a spot that I feel like one would find it and not really even realize what they're having is like a club. I feel like you could find a Pilsner or something like that. Because it's not
true.
like common, but you can't find it.
I probably have then.
You probably
Yeah.
have. You just haven't
Yeah, it's
paid
definitely
that much
around.
attention to it.
I will say this is I would say this would be, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but I'm going to say it anyways. To me, this strikes me as like a heavier, like Budweiser, but it tastes like a beer. It doesn't taste like a cheap Budweiser or Miller Lite or something, but it doesn't have the same depth or heaviness as a lot of other Czech beers I've had. But it's really good. I mean, this is something that I would probably drink in the summer. Would be really good with food. Or just like hanging out, like, as most Michiganders would do, like hanging out on a boat on a lake somewhere. Like I would
betcha.
totally have this. So, but it's good. I like it. And I'm pretty sure that this word up here, it says ležák. I'm pretty sure that means lager. So
Okay.
there you go. A little bonus untranslatable.
Have y'all thought about posting these beers and have a tracking one for like the Untapped app that you can track the different beers that you drink? You can leave little notes and you guys can see where you guys are going. It would be beneficial if the listeners want to follow you guys around.
That's a good idea.
It's just more work for me though. But yeah.
but I mean, it would also be your personal gangs and you could track the beers that you've had. I've been secretly wanting to do it. It's been every New Year's resolution for like the last 3 years.
Dude, I just had to teach myself how to edit videos last weekend. I mean,
okay, too much technology. It's okay, Jared. Chad can do it.
It's so funny. I like it now I get to almost like prove myself. I have to sit here and explain all the stuff I have to do to upload all the different shit.
We don't care.
Yeah, no one cares. No one appreciates me. Hey, if you want to,
I appreciate you, bro.
Love 5-star reviews on whatever it is. I don't give a shit.
iTunes,
wow.
Stitcher.
You just asked for their opinion, Jared. That's very nice.
You know what I do give a shit about though? The reason I'm here is not to be berated by our guests that we've had onto the Untranslatable podcast, but it's to spread the joy of becoming a polyglot, which our guest knows nothing about because he's still trying to master English. Time for the Untranslatables.
Yes.
Oh, man.
This is, by the way, Don, this is the Untranslatable owl. This owl, is one of our most cherished sound effects. Where did we find it? Chad's house.
One more time.
So at Chad's house, Chad's mom likes cuckoo clocks.
Wait.
Yep. Chad literally took his microphone and stuck it up to a clock.
I think Don has been up in that room and seen the clock.
Wait, it's the one with all the different birds every hour, right?
Yep.
Or no, yep.
On the 50.
Yeah.
This is our it kept interrupting our first couple episodes. It kept interrupting our first couple episodes when he was at home still, and so we called it the Untranslatable Owl, and then we made it our theme song for when we go into Untranslatables. And Untranslatables are idioms, sayings, phrases, proverbs, things that our parents used to say that barely make sense, but we know exactly what they mean, that we like to talk about from a bunch of different languages. Now, I want to ask you first, Don, when I say this, are there any things that you think of like that your parents used to tell you all the time that you're like, that you knew what they were saying, but you also would like be like, what does that even mean? But you knew what they meant. And I know I'm putting you on the spot. I can't really think of any either.
I don't think we have very many. I'd have to dig into the archives of my mind and think about it. But
okay, that's okay. We'll give you some, and we can play with some of the ones we've come up with. We'll let you guess.
Sounds good.
So I'll start. Okay, go for it.
Okay,
go for it. Go for it.
Bad. Okay, my first one is Taiwanese, and
I'm just waiting to hear it. I'm just waiting to hear the. Do you? Come on.
My first one is Taiwanese, and it's Ti Gong Tia Gong Lang. And the literal translation is God loves the stupid person.
Any guesses, Don?
Apropos.
Any guesses on
what that means?
What that would actually mean?
Jesus.
What the meaning of that is? God loves the stupid person.
I mean, maybe like respect. God respects all. It doesn't necessarily mean to any individual. I don't really know.
Can you give him one of your world-class examples, Jared?
So, yeah, sure. We all have, we talk about hometowns, and we all have that one hometown friend that we remember from high school that would constantly be in trouble for, like, I don't know, smoking weed in the school parking lot, or like doing donuts on the grass of like your neighbor's lawn or something like that. And then you find out later that they're like the CEO of Enron or something like that, and you're like, well, what can you say? God loves the stupid person.
Any guesses, Don?
Or you, Chad? You can guess too.
I mean,
Mr. Selfie McGee stands.
I realize I haven't taken one yet. Do I need to now that we're recording with video?
I would say so.
I'll take one. I don't want to give Jared more work. All right, my guess though would be God loves stupid people means like how stupid people are always the ones who kind of get lucky, right?
It just means to be fortunate, really. But yeah, essentially, I think it's saying that any idiot can get lucky is what it's essentially saying. So yeah, you're right. I'll give that to you.
I'd fully agree there.
Like we know people from college that we can name names.
We won't though. But
Ricky,
we definitely know.
That you're like, wow, how is that person still?
That's funny.
That's supporting themselves. That's shocking. They have an apartment,
right?
What do you have, Chad?
All right, I got a special one for Don because I figured him being out in Cali, he probably hears Spanish once in a while. So I found kind of a cool Spanish one, and we'll see if either of you can get this. So the phrase is ponerse las pilas, which means literally translated, put yourself some batteries. Put yourself some batteries.
I have an idea, but I want to give Don a chance.
I'm not very good at these things. Put yourself some batteries.
I mean, we've been doing this for 61 episodes, so
yeah, we've had some practice. Let me give you an example, Don. Let me help a brother out here. So, to put yourself some batteries. So say after this podcast drops, you're like, yeah, guys, I don't know if I really want to be on the podcast again. I just don't really feel like doing anything right now. I just really am feeling lazy right now, kind of bored. And then Jared would say, well, Don, put yourself some batteries.
By the way, I got it right. That was my guess. Just to me. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, to suck it up, man up, and get it done.
It's not man up. No, it's just more just like to get energy, to energize yourself.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was thinking with the batteries. Think Energizer Bunny.
Exactly. I thought you guys might confuse that one with like to recharge. To like take a nap or like. But
that was
you got
not
it
my
right.
first guess.
100%.
My first guess was to like energize
of
yourself.
I'm a napper, so I was like, oh,
that makes sense though. I didn't even think about that actually until you mentioned it, but that makes sense.
Yeah,
I napped today.
Nice.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
You got any more, Jared?
Great. I do. My next one's Japanese, and it's Doku Kuwa Basa Ramada. And it literally means when poisoned, you might as well swallow the plate.
So is this here? I'll let Don give his 2 cents first.
By the way, Chad, while Don's thinking about this, we'll give you a second to think, Don. I've started to realize we must be like experts at this.
You guys are pretty damn good, to be honest.
I don't realize
you guys are pretty good.
We're sharpening our polyglot skills.
Because we've usually had guests that bring, we've had guests that bring stuff from languages they know, so they're not really guessing like we are. I've never really realized how quickly we guess until we've had someone else on.
Well, it's the muscle. You're working the muscles of being able to be you're tying things together. Because I don't know. I feel like this is common in most languages, but when you don't really think about it.
Right.
We mentioned a couple episodes. We're really just only planning for this is all preparation for Family Feud.
Exactly.
We're gonna go.
Exactly.
That's why we just have all these different styles of quizzes that we give each other.
Exactly.
You do gain some knowledge.
Show me.
Oh,
Conrad.
Absolutely. I would agree, Don. I would definitely agree.
I don't know. My gut reaction to it is, it's something like you're shit out of luck anyway, so just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I would say that's where I would go with that as well. Are we right?
Nah, not really.
So what is it again? It's if you're poisoned, you might as well eat the plate.
The plate.
Yeah.
Eat the plate. Is that eat?
Swallow
the plate. Oh, so that's if you're suffering. No?
Not really.
No. Okay.
So,
I got nothing.
So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a New Year's resolution to lose weight, and on January 2nd you have a delicious donut from. I don't even know why I said donut. I don't know any famous donut places. From that donut place from a great donut. You have a great donut, and you're like, well, at this point, I might as well swallow the whole plate, and then you just quit your New Year's resolution and start eating pizzas.
Okay.
So it's like admitting defeat. It's a yeah.
Many fregista.
It's essentially that's what that drop means. Essentially, down by the way, it means it means accepting defeat after you make one small mistake. You're just like
Many fregista.
and you just swallow the whole plate and say I'm going all in.
Right.
Yep. So
right.
it'd be similar to me eating animal fries after I've already dropped like 20 pounds since Thanksgiving. I have a nice.
What's an animal fry?
Wait, you don't know what In-N-Out animal fries are?
Oh, is it animal style?
Animal
Do they call them
style.
animal fries?
Animal fries.
Okay.
Nice.
Let me tell you.
Oh, good
They're
news
so
is.
good. So good.
Well, we can all hear how delicious they are. Thank you for that.
Well, I don't know how sensitive this mic is.
Don't worry about how sensitive the mic is. Notice how sensitive I am to every
It
time
is
you've eaten,
good.
even before we were recording.
well, I was
how sensitive
hungry,
I was to it.
It is lunchtime here, and I'm sacrificing this beautiful plate of animal fries because it does say animal fries on the box to do
Nice.
this podcast.
Nice.
And for all of you who don't know, In-N-Out is a staple on the West Coast. It's like a local burger chain. They have like 6 things on the menu. That's about it.
Isn't there like is it Whataburger and In-N-Out? Are those the two big ones?
Yeah, I think those are 2 chains. They're also like Chick-fil-A.
Whataburger is a Texas one, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's Texas, different part of the country.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is the main one out here. There's also
Shake Shack's another competitor.
and Super Duper out here is a big one. But
I've
think
never
these
heard
are
of Super
mainly-
Duper.
I think that's just like West Coast.
Nice.
Shake Shack's all over.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I know it. I have one more. Do you have any untranslatables, Chad?
I have, of course I do. But go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
All right. As usual, as our listeners know, I usually try to bring at least one. Now I'm trying to keep it to one per episode so I don't run out before I leave the Czech Republic. And so I have a Czech one, and it is nemám paru, which means I don't have steam. I will tell you, though, it's not related to energy.
I was going to say, now what you... That's why we love untranslatables here.
That's right.
Because we have a very similar English untranslatable, and it's not what we would think.
Right. Yeah, we
Can you
say
give
to
me the-
run out of steam in English, and that's
Right.
not what this means.
Can you give the literal again?
Nemám paru, I don't have steam.
Don, do you have any ideas?
Yeah. I got one, but I don't...
Get your face closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to breathe into the mic now, Jared. You have me feeling very self-conscious of my bodily functions. Also, I'm currently at my girlfriend's family's house.
I know you don't. But I would like you to talk into the microphone,
talk,
though, at the very least.
They say I'm very loud, so I always try to be very quiet here, which I'm not very good at. I'm known to be the loudest person in the household. They can always hear me when I get up. Very self-conscious about that now.
We'll talk quietly and closely to the microphone. That's the perfect combination.
Is this close enough, Jared?
It's a little too close.
Oh, my God.
What was it one more time, Chad?
I don't have steam. Nemám paru.
I was thinking of it's like I don't have... I was putting in literal term like steam is in like... I was thinking it's more like I don't have any swagger. I don't have any like clout, as they call
Drip?
it. I don't know. Drip.
Is that Czech drip?
I don't know, but that's like what it came up with the literal translation. Like I don't got any clout.
Okay.
I don't got any drip. But I'm guessing that's not at all.
That is
Sadly,
great. I
that's not
hope
it.
that's what it is.
I wish it
Oh
was,
my
but that's
God.
not what it is. Nope. Jared, any ideas?
Is it sauce and or drip?
It's not sauce or drip, unfortunately.
I don't. It makes it's to me. It sounds like I'm not interested. Like ich hab kein Bock, kind of.
Nope.
Like it's like I don't care.
Nope. You guys both don't have steam right now?
You're wrong. I don't have any steam. Just guessing. I don't have any guesses.
You're getting close, or are you getting warmer?
I have no idea.
Boom! Hit that ham horn, fam. Yep. I have
that's
no
kind of
idea.
an unfair ham horn. It took like 14 guesses, but
Hey, you got there, though.
what's the English literal English one again?
I don't have steam. Nemám
Well, that
paru.
Okay.
So, like, I have no idea.
Don, are you about to dispute that?
No, I mean, I guess I get it. I was trying to. I know steam to me means like boiling water, because steam comes out boiling, but I don't get how that means no idea.
Yeah,
That's
me
the
either.
beauty of the untranslatable.
Yeah, me either.
They don't have to make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, there are plenty of untranslatables in English that don't make sense either.
That's a good
Without a
point.
doubt.
I have one more, and it's Japanese as well. and it's sorry, hold on. Let me look at it closer. I don't have my glasses on. Miminita koga dekiru. Miminita koga dekiru. And it means I'm growing a callus in my ear.
Oh, I mean, to me, it means shut up, you're talking too much, you're annoying me.
Nice. Good work, Don.
It's sick of hearing the same thing over and over again.
So like a broken record.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone that's
nice.
heard all 61 episodes of the Untranslatable podcast is probably growing a callus in their ear, which is me. That's the person who's done that. Okay, so I guess I thought I had one more, but I don't. That's it.
Well, let's get into our main topic of the episode today. And one of the main reasons why we wanted to have Don on here was to talk about hometowns. As Don mentioned, we come from basically the next town over, but I feel like we had very different hometown experiences growing up. And I love Ann Arbor. I'm sure it was an awesome place to grow up as a kid. So that's the plan. So let's get into
it. Also
hometowns.
seems like Don was Don. You're very well connected in what's happening in your neighborhood. Is the sense I always got. Yeah. And so, just as a background, for example, I don't think I ever really had a place that I'd call home like that. When I first moved to Michigan as a baby, I lived in Troy for a couple of years, 4 years or 3 years, 2 years. Then we moved to Clarkston, and I lived there for 7 years, and then we moved to Germany, then we moved back, and then I kind of moved all over. So I never had that sort of hometown situation that a lot of people had where it's your neighbors like that. You've been in the same area forever. When stores this store closed because this owner is 82 and is sick of the new kids that are ruining the store or whatever you hooligans did back in the day. And I always thought of you as someone that was very connected and what was connected / nosy in the the goings on of your community. Am I wrong in saying that? Is that too much?
I mean, I'd say you're right. It's also the product of the environment. With my dad being a teacher in Ann Arbor public schools, my grandma going to Ann Arbor High School back in the 40s. We're pushing. We've been in Ann Arbor almost. The Strites have been there for 80 some years.
The Strites. Well, you make it seem like you're a royalty within the.
No, but
everyone
the family's
knows
just
the
been there
Strites.
for a while, and so it's just we're connected. My grandma worked at the University of Michigan, and so when you have all that, it's you kind of just know a lot of people.
Did your dad go to Pioneer?
My dad went to Huron. So
really?
we actually went to all high school, well, minus Skyline because they're new. But my brother technically graduated from Pioneer. I went to community. He was Huron. But yeah, he coached at Huron as well. So a lot of the people who came back to Ann Arbor, he actually knows them as adults. The people who rented the house across the street from us, that was my grandma's old house, was my dad's former student who was his first students when now he's 40 something.
Talk about a tight knit community. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're very close. Jared knows.
So tell the listeners out there. I mean, we did an Ann Arbor episode, but I get a certain.
But I was just on the road again. That's true. I did that when I was visiting my sister.
I was impressed with it. It was a good representation of college game day.
Nice.
And I was in the perfect spot too because I looked out my window, then there was a 2-story beer bong across the street.
Yes. Did they still have the tarp? Did you when you walked through? Were there a lot of tarps up so you couldn't see into the backyards of the fraternities?
I didn't notice any, but but to walk from where my sister was, I think we were walking away from the street that had most of even though we were in that area, just the direction is away from the street that has all the fraternities on it. It's to the right to the right of us, but to go to the stadium, we go to the left.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it made me kind of miss that stuff, to be honest with you. I was like, oh man. Right up until you see someone throwing up on their front lawn at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's maybe I don't miss it.
Right.
I don't miss that. Oh, speaking of which, at that party I went to, that one of those college kids threw up, and I don't even know how. There wasn't even enough booze at that place to get me tipsy. So I don't know how she got that hammered. I'm like, well, what was she drinking? Hook me up. But it also made me feel very old. It's like, ma'am, control your alcohol. Come on. Have you had any water tonight? So what is it? So you no longer live in your hometown. What is it that you miss most about Ann Arbor now that you're in San Francisco? That you're like, oh man, I don't get this anymore.
I mean, it's the community. As weird as it sounds, it's the fact that I can go down the street and I know just about everybody I know. I can walk downtown and be familiar with the group, but also that's idealized in a specific part of time. So you say what I miss about Ann Arbor, it's when I knew everybody was about idealized 2009 to maybe 2013, when everybody was still there. You still go back for the holidays, you'd know people. Now it's just the sense of, literally the sense of home, just being comfortable, knowing where to go, not having to Uber around, having a car, not having to pull up Google Maps, just knowing where you want to go eat, just being like fully freaks. You just know the place like the back of your hand. What's sad now is the back of your hand is changing. And it's like, oh, wait, that's new. Oh, that's new. And I'm just like, whoa. So that I just like going back where it's just like, you can just go do whatever you want to do. There's really no rules in your hometown. You just kind of do what you want.
Do you see yourself ending up back there? Like, do you see some sort of obligation to Ann Arbor? Like, God forbid, past your parents. So there's no real family obligation pulling you back there. Could you see yourself wanting to retire there yourself, or having that need to go back there? Because I think that. That's what I hear a lot about people's hometowns, where it's like no matter where they go, that's like, oh, but I got Boston in the back of my heart, and even though I'm all the way over here, I'm always gonna end up back there at the end of the day.
No.
Well,
it depends on what you ask. Are you asking? Do you think I'll own a retirement home in Michigan, or do you think that'll be my main place of residence? That's what I'm getting.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
See,
so you'll always have a connection to it, but you don't need to live there directly.
No, and I indirectly know, like, once my parents, it's sad to think, once my grandma passed away, that's one more thing that's not there anymore. That's always been there. And then once my parents end up passing, it'll just be like friends and family where they are. Because to me, home is all, like, there's two parts of home. There's your hometown, but then home is kind of where your family and friends are, where it doesn't necessarily have to be where you grew up. It's where you feel comfortable around the people who love you. And so think about that. I think about, well, if my parents pass away, then these other people who've been parent figures in my life, they're probably not here anymore. So where will my brother be? Where will they be? But I don't plan on Ann Arbor being a place that I call my main residence for some reason. I do also plan on having at least 2 or 3 residences when I retire.
Ballin'.
Nice.
That makes a lot of sense though, because like that was a great way to explain why like I now just call Louisiana my home, even though I never lived there. But it's like all my family's there, my parents live there now, and it's when I say I'm going home, that's what I mean, even though I've never lived there. And it's just like, yeah, that's where. Like it makes sense to call it my home, but it's like then you got to explain every time. Well, I never lived there, but and then I went there when I was and all that stuff. But yeah, I get that. I kind of miss that. I don't think I have like any sort of connection like that. Like I like Michigan, but I almost feel like it's less of some sort of like strong connection to the hometown, and more just like I'm biased in thinking that it's a beautiful state because I spent so much time there. Because it's not like I spent most of my childhood in Clarkston. I feel no need to specifically move back to Clarkston or specifically move back to Birmingham where I lived after. Like I'd happily live on the West Coast or something like that. I think that would be cool.
But I think part of it is you didn't really form those close ties with your neighbors, your friends, your family, the people down the street where you saw their kids from when they were babies to when they're graduating high school and going to college.
Exactly.
Like those are the things like the intangible about being home. Like I have the twins I used to babysit are now sophomores in high school. Their older brother is now in college. He comes out here to visit his girlfriend. It's weird.
Are they good kids?
Oh yeah, they're great kids.
But seriously though, seriously.
No, they are. They're the ones who I
gave my long boy. Are they like goody two-shoe kids?
No. They're just like good kids. They don't... They were the equivalent of like me. They would fuck around a little bit.
So they're terrible.
I knew you were going to go there. I was just waiting.
No, I was just asking. I just wanted to know if they're like, well, one was in juvie for a bit. And it's like, how do you... I wanted to know if you felt any way involved. But if they're good kids, then...
No, they're good.
I'm not interested.
They run the lawn mowing I used to have. So they got their head on straight. One goes to Michigan. The other 2 are bright. They're children of like 2 Ann Arbor teachers, so very understanding family.
I want to talk to Chad real quick. I want to know what. So Chad grew up in Dexter, which is a spitting's distance away from Ann Arbor.
That's a good way to put it.
But it's a very different vibe.
For sure.
Because Dexter is country, suburb/country.
I wouldn't even say suburb. I would say village.
Yes.
I mean, it used to be called the village of...
Village.
It's weird, dude.
Okay.
It's called the city
Village/country.
of Dexter. And if you ask anybody over the age of like probably, 22, 23, they grew up with the village of Dexter. Like that was what you said. And now when I see the city of Dexter, it doesn't quite feel right. Ann Arbor is a city.
I'm just an outsider. I haven't even know.
Dexter is not a city.
Bigger. Dexter
I mean, it's gotten bigger a lot.
Yeah.
Like the population's up to 10,000, but 10,000 is not city population in my opinion. But that's another talk for another time.
Well, we'll get to that because that's another thing I want to talk about. But what is I want to know about? First of all, I didn't realize you guys had this slight connection that went so far back.
Yep.
But I want to know like your hometown is very different, and I want to know like how you feel about your hometown and what your connection to it is.
Sure.
Because you don't really talk about it like Don. I mean, Don's sporting his hometown right now.
Right. Actually, it's
inadvertently, but
it's really ironic. I almost wore my Michigan State shirt, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to be that guy today. Thought about it, but anyways, I mean, I guess the reason why I don't talk about my hometown the same way that Don does is just because I've been to. Not that Don hasn't been to a lot of cool places. I'm sure you have, Don. But I think growing up in Dexter, it's different than growing up in Ann Arbor. Like Dexter's great. I love it. It's a small town feel. If you're ever driving through Dexter and you're there in the morning, stop at the Dexter Bakery. You will not be disappointed. Good. Yeah. I mean, Jared knows, Don knows some of the best donuts I've ever had. But when I think of Dexter, like, to be honest, what I think of is like, I think of farmland. I think of cornfields. I think of bonfires. I think of the Huron River.
Bonfires.
Right? Right?
Canoeing down the river.
Yeah. See, I'm bringing back all these memories for Don. And I think we might have actually met at a bonfire.
No, we did.
Yep.
Oh my God, this is great. Wait, what's her name?
Was it
like
Aaron's house?
Aaron or Ashley? One of those.
I think it was Aaron,
groups?
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, and you were talking to one of them, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Oh,
Probably, yeah.
Oh my God, I do remember that. When you had to get your parents to drop you off at places.
Yep. Good times, right? But yeah, and so like bonfires were really popular in Dexter, and then we have the Huron River, and then Huron River Drive, which is the most scenic and most beautiful. That's how I used to get to Ann Arbor, is I take that down and then turn on, what road is it? It's when you go down Zeeb and you got to make a Miller. I would turn down left on Miller, and then, or you could go Dexter Ann Arbor and take that in. But yeah, so Dexter, it's got a really small town feel. Where I went to high school, I think I had like 350 kids in my graduating class. In Ann Arbor, the schools are huge. Am I right, Don?
Pushing, yeah. I think my class.
Well, not community.
Community was small. We were about like 450 students, but when
that's still pretty big though.
Yeah, we're graduating class about like 100. But when my respective class of Pioneer was
the whole school was 450.
Yeah, the whole school was 400 people.
I got you.
The graduating class I think was like 750, 800. They maxed out the total building held like 3,000 people. But now they have high schools still.
What's funny about Pioneers? My dad actually went to Pioneer. And he went there before Huron existed. I think it was just being built. And he told me he had over 1,000 kids, I think, in his graduating class.
Yeah. So he was part of when it was like the only Ann Arbor high school.
Yep.
That was the Ann Arbor High School Pioneer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And it was like, it would have been where it was currently, but then originally it was like downtown Ann Arbor.
Right, exactly.
Somewhere.
So we kind of went off on a slight digression. So do you think what you're saying is that you like your hometown? Obviously, you don't have any ill will towards it, but it's not the kind of place you see yourself in. Like, it's nice, but it's not where you want to live.
I think
how you want to live your life.
The only way I could see myself back there is if I raised a family and had a decent job in either Dexter or Ann Arbor or Chelsea, one of the surrounding areas. If work and family brought me back, I would glad to go back. But I mean, as Jared knows, and I'm sure Don can guess by now, like, I just love being able to travel and live in different countries. And I've been toying with the idea of living in a couple different places. unless I can find a good job. I think if I lived back in the States, though, it would probably be in Michigan. Right now, at least, just because of my family. I have 2 nephews and a niece. But, I really love Dexter, and it does still, and I'm sure you felt this way when you've gone back to Ann Arbor, Don. I'm assuming you've been back since you've moved to California, right? Yeah.
I go back like 4, 5, 6 times a year.
Right, but it feels like home. Even though a lot of your friends have moved, things have changed, there's new stores up or whatever, it still feels like home.
Oh, yeah. But I think that's also because we're still in the house I grew up in. And are you still in the house you grew up in?
Yep. You're right. That's a great point.
Because my parents were flowing the idea around that we might end up moving out of our house and moving to a different house in the neighborhood. Well,
Don's 26, by the way, everyone, and soon to be 27, and he's saying "we" with his parents' house.
Well, because it's always your house,
I feel you.
I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. It's just funny.
But this ties
that you still have that connection like that, but I totally get it.
Right.
But this ties well to Jared's theme, knowing everybody. Someone in our neighborhood recently passed, and then we know them so well, we were like, oh yeah, we'll buy your house. Nonchalantly. Because to put in perspective, we own three houses in the small little neighborhood we're in. My parents like to flip houses. So that's the part of the connection that we have. None of the houses have gone to market. We just know the people. We've cut their grass for years. We were friends with them, and we have their best interests. We blow their snow, all that stuff. And so when something happens, like we're the ones who help take out their trash, and normally it's more elderly couples. And so that's how kind of we just root ourselves in the communities, because my parents are giving people. My mom's a nurse, my dad's a teacher, and so I think that plays well for why I'm so tied into Ann Arbor, is because they're givers, and so indirectly I know a lot about the community because I'm similar to them, where I like to, I guess, give and be around people and talk. Clearly.
Yeah, you grew up in a good family. For sure.
Because, as you mentioned, your dad's a teacher and your mom's a nurse, and you guys are both very ingrained in your community. For example, my grandpa, when he was up until pretty recently, he would go and mow a bunch of his neighbors' lawns and bring some older people meal, like lunch and dinner and all that kind of stuff. What kind of stuff, like, what is your parents' role in the community? I'm sure they do some of that stuff that I just mentioned, but because that is how, that's how it happens. You learn to, you learn all this stuff through your parents. This is all nurture stuff, and you learn that, and because your parents are the one introducing you to half of these neighbors and telling you to go bring this person this or go do this for this person. What is it that they would often do, or like what kind of calls would you often hear where it's like, oh, I got to go do this for neighbor blah, neighbor Joe?
It started out very basic. Hey, when we're out of town, can you mow our lawn? Can you keep our sidewalks clean? Get the mail. And that's what it started as, but then it started transition to, hey, can you take our trash out? Our older neighbor, she was in her 90s. We take her trash out. We call in. We check in on her. And we're I see my dad being like the monitor of the neighborhood. If somebody needs something done, they'll call him to help out. They lend their tools, they lend their time, they lend their advice. The neighbors next door who moved in, my dad helped them gave them designs to their whole basement, like around the neighborhood. Like if you need, we share a trailer with 4 or 5 of our neighbors that you can just borrow, and everybody else in the neighborhood gets to use it. But 5 of them paid for it. I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, and it's just like
the fact that even 5 of them paid for it is crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah,
let alone that everyone
awesome.
else can use it.
And indirectly, like my neighborhood's been close. Like people at the far end of the neighborhood, my mom went to college with her, so like we've known them. We've known people in our neighborhood like for 30, 40 years, longer than we've only lived in that house for maybe 23. We moved when I was like 2 or 3, 1 or 2. We moved 4 blocks, not very far. We moved out of one elementary zone into a different elementary school zone because they were relatively particular.
It was just for schools?
And the house in these neighborhoods were bigger.
Okay.
This is after they had my brother, and they're like, oh yeah, our 3-bedroom house isn't going to be big enough because we always have family over. So we have like a nice 5-bedroom, 2-bath place that can sleep like up to 20. We also rent our house out for Michigan games. So that's why we sleep so many. We have lots of converted couches.
I wonder about that sometimes, though. You mentioned like it started off with all the simple helping stuff. Like when I go out of town and stuff, sometimes I wish even the simple stuff, I wish I could, and this goes along with what sorry, I just punched my microphone in the face. This goes along with what I was saying with like at the party. Like even just simple stuff like when I, say I'm going out of town for a long weekend, my garbage day is a Friday. I wish I could just go up to my neighbors and be like, hey, could you just like, I'm going to put it out like Thursday night, but I have a flight that leaves, 6 a.m. Can you just pull my garbage can around so it's not out all weekend?
Yep.
And even simple stuff like that is such a big leap for me that I wish it makes that is a barrier to me as far as moving to a new place, whether it be here or when I was in Royal Oak, for example. It was a little easier in Royal Oak because you were my roommate, I guess. So there was there was always a backup person to do that kind of stuff. But like that's a big barrier to ever really calling this place my home. Is not even being able to be like, hey, could you just like get my mail for the week because I'm going to be gone all week or something like. And that is like, to me, the barest of bare minimum of having neighbors and just common decency.
But I mean, were your parents like that? Did like those are the sort of things that like I actively
we were with not to the same extent as you. We were with and we also lived in sort of a more like I lived in Clarkston before Great Lakes Crossing existed.
Oh. Damn.
So it was like so like I was like that with our direct neighbors. So my neighbor to the left of me, to the right of me, and across the street from me, and maybe one like and then we had a couple other neighbor friends that were down the road, but that was like a 2-minute, 3-minute drive down away. And they were that were also good friends with us. So we had that sort of direct contact for that sort of stuff, but it wasn't that sort of like everyone meet up in this cul-de-sac and we'll play sports kind of neighborhood.
We had that going on.
We did that too.
I had that in Germany.
We did that too.
I had that in Germany.
Yeah.
But I did not have it as a child, and I missed that. It was always just me and my sister. And I mean that's a whole other aspect of hometown that is great. Is having like that meet here and we're gonna do this sort of.
I gotta
thing.
ask Don, what did you guys play in the cul-de-sac?
Yes.
So we had a cul-de-sac, but we didn't. We used my backyard as like the cul-de-sacs. We had the biggest backyard or big front
nice.
yard. And so
could you like hop to other people's neighbors' backyards without concern?
My parents built a ladder over the fences because me and
so
my
kids
friend,
would stop hurting themselves by leaping.
Well, no,
Nice. That's smart.
Me and my buddy Zach, we sat. There's still a bend in the fences from when we used to sit there and talk to each other over the fences.
Nice.
And my parents were like, well, we just
God.
go back and forth. That's where they transition groceries. Like if you need butter, be like, hey, meet you at the fence. And like
Nice.
our house, and my parents, like our house was the spot for like we played football, basketball. We had a basketball court. My parents my seventh. When I turned seventh grade, we got basketball, like a half court put in the backyard. So like indirectly, we were that.
I've played basketball on that half court.
We had.
I think I might have shot a couple hoops there too with you guys one time.
You had to, because that was probably one of the times that we drove to your place afterwards up Huron River Drive. Because I remember that, because whenever we drive to your place, we always took Huron River Drive because Jared's beautiful car just had that little turbo. And to this day, whenever we're on the phone and he's driving, I do say, "Can I hear the turbo real quick?" And he just fixes it for me.
Nice, that's awesome.
Can
I just say though?
Get me arrested.
Can I just say we need more people building ladders over fences and not walls? I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yes.
Spread a little love.
Exactly.
So what? What are give me some games, because I can already think of some games off the top of my head
That we played.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad's a gym teacher, so football, basketball, like touch football. We played backyard baseball with tennis balls because we couldn't do it with baseballs because we cracked the windows. But we had this big Y-shaped tree, and if you hit it in between the Y, you got extra points.
Nice.
So flag football was there too.
How many kids could you get together for like say at its peak, if you could get as many kids as possible? If you went to every house that you would go to and they all said, "Let's do it," how many kids would be there?
We had, I think the most we had was maybe like 15 or 20 kids.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's
really good.
Easily 2 teams right there, 2 full teams
It was
of
You play
any
soccer
game.
with that, almost full soccer team.
But it was also the fact that like that was just my place. We had 2 big nets up at the end of our yard, so the soccer, footballs, or tennis balls wouldn't go over. We did movie nights where we'd like put this big white sheet over the big net at the end, and we'd drive cars into our backyard. We'd play Xbox. I mean, it's just like my parents wanted our spot to be the outdoor location. So I think that also brought us closer to the community. That like, that's kind of where we were. But also with my dad teaching, he knew all the kids. So indirectly, I've known everybody, which is far different than, I guess, probably your 2 experiences growing up. It's like, he taught.
You knew kids that were even way out of your age range, like the 4 years older or less than you. You knew kids outside of that because your dad has been teaching for decades.
Yes, when I like I have people who come up and be like, "Oh, you're Stripes kid, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't."
Who are you?
Who are you?
Oh,
Like,
right.
you were like a baby. You were like a baby when I was coming to class. I'm like,
Who dat?
sure.
That's crazy.
Speaking of who dat, the Saints are playing right now. So
Yeah, they're killing it.
little shout out.
Wait, do you know what the score is right now by any chance?
13-10.
Okay.
Nice.
For them?
Yeah, Saints are up. They dominated the first half, but the Rams started to come back at the end.
Okay. Even though I have a lot of Saints fans in my family, it'd be interesting to see the Rams win, especially such like a new team like that.
Everybody wants to see a Rams Chiefs.
Yeah, of course. Nobody wants to see the Patriots.
Well, I either want to see Rams
except for
Chiefs
That's
or
fair.
Saints Patriots. I want to see the young guys versus the young guys, or the old guys versus the old guys.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But I also do have an undershirt here. It says the GOAT, which
Is that for Tom Brady?
Indirectly, though, I went to a bar.
Well, because he went to U of M.
Well, no, this is not even.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
This isn't even a U of M shirt. This was a bar I went to in Irvine that they said just get the shirt. I saw the shirt said the GOAT. I'm like, the GOAT's pretty cool, so I bought the shirt. And then indirectly, it can be the greatest of all time.
Speaking of sports, though, what sports did you play in high school or school in your time, and how did that like were there any for example?
You played soccer, didn't you?
Were there any
in football?
He
Right,
played everything.
So
were there any? Well, first start by what sports you played. I have more questions, but we'll start with that.
Okay, so I was a 5-sport athlete in middle school, which is something my dad did at Slauson, where if you played, there's 5 seasons in middle school. You played a sport every season, you got your name on a banner. If you play a sport every season for the 3 years in middle school, you became a 15-sport athlete. So I played.
Heshki Kluk.
What does that
That means good boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus, Jared. So the sports I played, it was like soccer, ran cross country, volleyball, swimming, wrestling, lacrosse, basketball, flag football, actual football, water polo.
Actual football.
Well, I don't
Tackle
flag
football.
Brain damage.
Tackle
kind.
football.
Tackle football, tennis. I've
Wait, you
a little
played
bit of-
tennis?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So my parents were very frank with me. They're like in a freshman high school. They're like, hey, if you want to get a college scholarship, your best bet is probably swimming and playing tennis. Because I could play water polo in the fall, then swim in the winter season, and play tennis in the spring.
Until they flipped the seasons on us.
Yeah, until they messed that all up. And then I also played golf. Yeah, that might round them up. There's probably a few more sprinkled in.
You've played every sport that's ever existed,
Basically,
and
yeah.
you've played against every student in the local greater Ann Arbor area.
Most likely.
Were there any sort of stupid and or I guess if you want to consider them legitimate, I'll hear you out, like hometown rivalries that you still kind of think about today, or it's like a little part of you if you hear like Joe Smith, you're like, fuck that guy. I remember when when we played this, he used to always be that guy, and whenever I saw him in high school, I'd slap his binder out of his hand.
So there's no
I don't know.
So let's preface. I was not very good at sports in high school. I was not a starter. I just kicked a little bit for football. Was a backup quarterback. I rode the bench in basketball. So I never really had that rivalry.
What made you want to play every sport then? If you weren't like good? No,
I was
no
okay.
offense.
I was okay. The best part is like I have. The way
you could compete.
I could compete. Like I have knowledge of the sports. Like I like to watch football because I like doing the reads. I played linebacker, so I know like, hey, this is cover 2 man, this is cover 2 zone, this is what's going to be open. But I'm not the fastest person on the court. My body style, I grew into my body after college. So in college, I grew a few more inches. For everyone who's not listening, I also ran track and cross country after I had a knee and shoulder surgery. So I took myself out of football and basketball. But then that's also when I sprouted. I got broad and stronger. So now I'm far better than I was in sports. So I could go play against all the high school kids and I shit all over them. I want to say that.
For those of you guys listening, Don is bragging that 26-year-old him could beat a bunch of 14 to 17-year-olds in sports.
And for a while, when I would go back for so another part of the hometown is when I would go back for the holidays, my former coaches would ask me, can you get 5 guys together to scrimmage our JV basketball team? And it'd be fun because we'd be 5 out of shape guys who really don't play basketball anymore, just tearing up these cocky little sophomores in high school who think like, yeah, these guys don't know anything. They're coming in with their busted shoes, mismatching socks, and then we come.
I feel like I wonder if Don, do you even realize all these like hometown gems you're talking that you're saying that
beautiful.
Are just flying over? The fact that you're saying that the local coach called you to get guys together to play the local basketball team. Like I feel like you don't even realize what you're saying when you.
No, I guess I don't. It's just like
just dropping hometown gems at every.
I mean, I was asked by my tennis coach back in the day to do the same thing.
Yeah,
but I mean that's not normal for someone like me. Let me put it that way. That's never really been.
Yeah,
and I went also another thing, is I went to private schools too. So like I never had that sort of like I never had that community connection like you really get from a public school.
I'd agree. But then I don't know. I think things are similar, but also different in Dexter. So I feel like Dexter's even closer than the community like Ann Arbor is. I mean, everybody knew everybody in Dexter, and
which is it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
I've actually experienced that just hanging out with Chad, just going to local the local corner stores and gas stations.
Yeah,
it's unavoidable.
And that's why.
Pub.
Yep, and back in the day, it used to be Katie's, but they closed that place down. That was like a high school reunion I never wanted to go to, basically.
Oh, yeah. Every time was like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, did everybody go there?
Yep. Usually, it was usually Katie's. Good times, not really, but yeah.
How do both of you guys feel, we'll start with Don because you're the guest, but how do both of you guys feel like nowadays going back to your hometown and running into, like, do you enjoy it? Or do you look forward to it? Like, how do you feel about that? Because usually, even on the rare occasion that I run into people I know in Michigan, a lot of times I'm like, oh, let's hope this person doesn't recognize me. Let's keep moving. But that's also my personality, I guess.
I would say I now make it more. I don't like to say hi to people now more than ever. I'm much more like, I'm gonna go home. I want to see these 5 people. That's all I want to see. If I see somebody I kind of know, I'm like, I don't want to take my time and talk with them. Like, I would rather spend my time talking to my close friends.
Does it seem like almost pointless small talk at that point, where it's like,
it's like
we're never like it's just because we happen to run each other that we're doing this.
More like my running into is like, oh, I should really unfriend you on Facebook now.
That's some good wisdom right there. I might need to take that into consideration.
And so I always go through a purge on Facebook, and going home is the best way. I'm like, but I don't fuck with you anymore. Please get off. But then also I like it when do you guys ever do this? You know how on Facebook you get the back in this day sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
I always click on like who posts on my wall, always to see who's still my friend or not. Like who posted
Oh, interesting.
some shit.
Okay.
And I realized I've purged a lot of people.
I have too.
I have not.
I had to stop actually because I'd be nervous that I'd have no friends left if it would just be like 15 people on my friends list at some point.
But I'm hoping Facebook reverts back to more like personal, because that's what, I don't know, that's what it was originally. But now it's like your most personal social media is like Instagram, but that's now too mainstream. Like there's no medium to that I feel like I could share my personal posts with like you guys. Like there's
bring back MySpace.
Yes.
We tried it. I tried it with some of my friends. Me, Chris, Guardo, and Brad were talking about it, and we looked it up, and we were disappointed because you no longer have to like put in all the codes and stuff like you used to have to.
Yeah,
it's now way more intuitive because we were disappointed that it was intuitive. We're like, oh, we thought we'd have to spend time Googling codes and putting them into like the info. Remember you had to do that?
Yeah.
You put codes into the info section of your MySpace to make like weird songs pop up.
A new app. Let's make that happen.
Like a shitty social media?
Shitty social media.
That would be funny.
MySpace Ring brought it back. It's gonna take you.
Because we could do that where you have to do the codes, but even make that more intuitive. Because the codes was so confusing. Because you have to like put it below actual descriptions of stuff.
Yeah.
You were putting legitimate code.
Right spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that we were doing HTML coding before it was even cool because of MySpace.
Yeah, people were writing code and giving it to us for free.
Yep, pretty crazy stuff. Cool if I tackle that question.
Chad, yeah, that's what I was about to say, actually. It seems like you're overwhelmed by it.
Yes and no. Like I said, that's why I didn't always enjoy going to Katie's, because I would go to Katie's and I would know everybody there. And there were a lot of people it was nice to see, but some people that, like were driving around. Now what I would assume they're driving around with a Make America Great Again sticker on their car next to their Confederate flag. Not even their car, let's be honest. It's a pickup truck. Probably an old beat-up one that's got mud all over it as well.
Oh, they go mudding out there.
Right. Oh, yeah. And I don't know. I like
Rolling coal.
I think I got to be, if I'm really feeling in a social mood, I enjoy it, and it's like nice to kind of shoot the shit with some people. But it really depends on who it is. And that's why there are certain places I'll go to now where I really enjoy going because I tend to run into people I enjoy talking to. Like, I really like visiting the Beer Grotto in Dexter. Also, amazing beer.
Yes.
And I also love the Dexter pub because I know the owner. I know a lot of the wait staff. They're all really nice, really friendly. Plus, they serve...
Are the people you went to high school with?
Some of them, yeah. And some of them I just know because I've been there so many times. You know.
I'm just I keep forgetting that you know everyone.
Right. And I mean, that was the cool thing about Dexter, but it's kind of funny. I remember when I was in high school, I used to get teased a lot because I would always befriend the foreign exchange students. People would say, "Oh, you don't want to like have American friends."
Speaks to
and it's like no, I've just known all of you guys since like kindergarten, and maybe
it's nice to get some fresh perspective in here.
Exactly.
Do you ever? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think that brings up a unique point on why, Chad, you mentioned earlier that you kind of want to move around, move to different cities. Is you've been jaded with the fact if you go to a place and know everybody. But I want to ask the question, does the allure of going to a new city, moving to a new country, knowing nobody, do you like that? Having to make friends and going to a bar where you know you can go in there and not know a single face and just have to work the room, make a friend.
That's a great question. It's invigorating and terrifying at the same time, right? So it's really, some days it's really exciting and I love it. And then other days I'm kind of like, man, if I was just back in Dexter, I could just walk down this one trail and chill. Like there's a spot in the Huron River where there's like a pool of rocks where you can sit. I think Don might know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And you know, so there are days when I really love the fact that, you know, the other thing is too, everything's new, right? Now I've been in the Czech Republic for 4 months. I still love it here, but it's lost a little bit of its like kind of pizzazz just because I know where most things are now. I know a decent amount of people here. And so, yeah, it's cool to go somewhere. I'm sure you had this feeling when you went to San Francisco, you know, where, you know, it's just all new people, all new places. And you kind of wake up in the morning, you're like, I wonder what's going to happen today, right? But if you're in Ann Arbor or you're in Dexter, you more or less kind of know what's going to happen that day probably.
I'm waking up, I'm going to get this breakfast sandwich. That's my morning where I'm going to get some shit by the... Like, you know what you're going to do.
Yep.
And that is interesting because that also does wear off at like 4 to 6 months of the new city. Because I remember I feel like we idealize the first, when you move to a new place or your first 6 months in college, or your first 6 months in a new job, or your first 6 months new city, you idealize those 6 months. Because I remember 6 months in San Francisco was awesome. I was doing this. I was going to bars till 2 in the morning. I was walking home. Now it's like, yeah, I stay at home on a Saturday night and Monday night and Tuesday, and I don't go out for a week, and I feel totally normal.
It's that honeymoon phase.
But I think that's great though, because it shows that you're willing to put yourself out there and experience as much as you can. And then after that, 6 months, you start to find what you like. And I think after that 6 months is when you start to actually feel like, for a lot of, generally, that you're starting to feel comfortable. Yeah. Like, oh, this is actually my home now. This is a place that I live. Because I remember when I was in Philadelphia, even though I had a job and paid rent in an apartment, it took a couple months before I was like, okay, I think I'm actually gonna be here for a while, and this is the thing. And it's like, okay, this is working. I'm paying rent. Like this has been going on for a while. I've kind of gotten the hang of what's like. That takes a while to happen. Yeah. So I think that makes sense, and I think that's great.
And I think it takes a while for that to really set in, right? Like, and that's the weird thing with me right now is the fact that this, as far as I know, is only temporary, right? So after July, I could be back in the States, I could be in Asia, I could be in Europe. I have no idea.
You keep those suitcases close.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Keep the passport up to date.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ready to make cuts on the clothing real quick and get on a plane.
And I want to ask, Jared asked, what are some things you miss? I'm just curious, is there anything you don't miss from your hometown? We've talked about a lot of positive stuff, which is great. But, life isn't always unicorns and rainbows.
Yeah, you didn't love everything about Ann Arbor.
Oh, no. Well, I don't miss the weather. That's one thing. I miss snow, but I like the fact that San Francisco 95% of the days is nice, and I can wear a long sleeve shirt and jeans and be fine, and there's no rain.
Michigan, the weather out there is gorgeous in San Fran.
Yeah. But in the last 2 weeks has been terrible. Raining every day. In the most annoying raining where it's it's not coming down like terrible, but it's just like I'm a drizzle on you to the point like you need a jacket and you can't really walk outside, but you don't want to wear a jacket.
Also, the annoying thing about rain jackets is they're always so hot. I hate rain jackets because like
didn't we talk about this on one of the episodes, like one of our first episodes?
Yeah, well, I think it was because after I came back from North Carolina, it was raining. Yeah, it was like humid out. So like you could feel like the heat captured within the jacket almost. And it's just that gross feeling, but it's like, well, if I take it off, I'm going to be drenched, so I have to do this, and I'm sweating.
So to get back to the question, I think it's the same thing. I don't miss the people, but I also miss the people. You can flip it both ways.
Sure.
I like the fact that I can be in a city, I can go do my own thing, and I don't have to see my neighbors. But I also miss the fact that I don't get to see my teacher from middle school when I go out on a date. If I were going on a date, I currently am wifed up. I have a girlfriend, so that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Oh, who's this? How'd you guys meet?
It happened so many times. And then
hi, Mr. Johnson.
Right.
I get texts from my dad like, "Who are you out with tonight? Oh, you have date money now. Oh,
really? Like when you get back to your parents?
Funny.
He was
that's
like,
great.
"Oh, you went to this place. I didn't know you had this kind of money. Oh, you're out at this bar last night. Oh, you had this."
What places did you take them? Like Grazie or something?
Yeah, what were some date spots for you?
No, it was
Zingerman's Roadhouse or whatever.
I wasn't a fan of Zingerman's. So it was like
that's pretty close.
You know, Monty's Pizza, the little corner. That place was.
Chad does them. I don't.
It was, and then Aventura was a place that I took. That if you want to upscale it, I took a lot of dates there. Like that was a good like second, third date place. I had a good run. I had a good game plan for Ann Arbor.
Nice. Ann Arbor would be a good place for dates.
Oh yeah, you meet them at like a coffee bar, like one of the beer garden places, and then you just go out and you can have a very flowing date there, where you can be walking around, you can gauge their interests, small meals, big meals, beer, what they want to do, pinball Pete's.
I was just gonna say pinball Pete's. Yes,
so good.
Yes, pinball Pete's, 100%.
But yeah, so it's everything.
So you miss running into people and word spreading back to your parents within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is there like and the weather as well? You said it. Is there like a lot of gossip happening? Like, do people love to gossip or like spy on what's going on and be like, oh, I wonder why this person brought this person there, or ooh, this person has a new car? What?
I don't think there's as much as that. I mean, the group that I was raised in, they were a bunch of teachers, so like they weren't very materialistic. So if somebody got something new, they worked hard for it. But also, there wasn't that much gossip. It was just like, oh, Don, you're taking. Oh, we've seen. My dad would be like, oh, this is the 4th different woman I've seen you with in like 2 weeks. Oh, that's interesting.
Nice.
That's kind of good though, because my parents never really. I never really told my parents much about like dating and stuff like that. Like we don't really talk about that stuff. So like for you, it's unavoidable.
Yeah, they just
and I told them.
But that opened up your relationship with your parents. So you could be very open. Be like, oh, this isn't going well. Oh, this happened. Like, why did I break up with this girl? And I'm just like, well, this is the reason why. And this really hurt. And I was able to have that open relationship with them where there's like, I told them did tell them what they wanted to hear. Not always what.
Yeah, well, you got to. It's your parents. That's fair.
You gotta massage the situation a little bit.
Of course. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Chad, do you miss anything? Is there anything you don't miss? And don't say seeing people running into people, because that's obvious.
I was just.
I feel like there'd be more gossiping in your neighborhood because you have that more small town vibe.
I was also going to say that there's a ton of gossiping.
And twitches.
That's right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of gossip in Dexter. That's one of the issues. Other than the gossip, I mean, it's just real small, you know? I mean, there's only a couple places you can go, which I love a lot of those places, but it's funny. You know, Don's from Ann Arbor, and we would always, like, if we wanted a night out on the town, we would go to Ann Arbor.
Ann Arbor.
Yeah, that's where we would always go. And then, you know, after I was of legal drinking age, then we would always go to Ann Arbor because, like, there's like 2 or 3 places in Dexter. And then the other thing is, because Dexter's so small, you don't want to get shit-faced at one of these bars and then have somebody tell your parents the next day, like, oh, saw Chad at the beer grotto and he slipped back quite a few.
Looks like he had a few.
Right, exactly. So
slipping on gator piss.
Yeah. So, but, you know, I think it's safe to say for Don and myself, I would say the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. Do you think? Would you agree, Don?
Yeah. Hands down. I mean, if I had to pick a place to go live like now where I haven't been, like I would say Ann Arbor is a good place. Raise a kid, good public schools. I would also say Dexter. The surrounding area is pretty good. I think it's getting more liberal as well. So if you trickle out, it's not quite as. For those of you who don't know, Ann Arbor is historically very liberal, and then
incredibly liberal.
It's like the Vermont of Michigan.
And then you go directly outside of Ann Arbor. And it gets very, very conservative very quick.
Yep.
And that's kind of how...
That's any big liberal city, though.
I mean,
you could say the same thing about Philadelphia.
I think it helps that the University of Michigan is there as well,
Yeah.
because you have a lot of progressive, liberal-thinking people there.
Yeah. But also one thing I learned is that I thought Ann Arbor... I thought I had a diverse upbringing, but then I realized moving to San Francisco, where we had a diverse upbringing for what we knew in the Midwest, but diversity out like on the West Coast is completely different.
Oh, I'm sure.
And to me, that it's allowed me to open my eyes where I want to go see different cities, different towns to expand my comfort zone. And go to different areas. Like I could be moving to Denver shortly, which I think would be pretty awesome. But I also do want to move overseas at some point. Yeah, I should figure out in like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm kind of excited.
Nice. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
But that is something that people, I think, is an important thing for people to realize is that even within the U.S., like every area or sort of big city has their own like quote unquote minorities. Like everyone has their own different minorities, and you can experience vastly different cultures, like from various different countries. Even if you just go to like a different city or neighborhood, it's like, oh, this is where all the I don't know Portuguese live.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Unless you're in a small town like Dexter, and then you have maybe 10 to 15. Minorities at your school, other than not counting the exchange students.
Do either of you guys feel a need to stunt on your hometown? Well, it's easy for Chad to say that because he grew up in Dexter. What about you, Don?
I mean, I feel like indirectly. Like
I'm sorry, I don't know why to just shit on your city like that.
I don't know.
You don't feel that need to like go home and like, or let me ask you this. You guys are humble people, clearly, so that was a garbage question for me to ask. Do you ever feel Do you ever feel sorry for the people that you see not leave, and it's like, oh man, like that are still there, and it's like you need to, like you could see that they need to just get out,
but they won't, and it's just like, all right, man.
Yeah,
because I feel that way even sometimes too when I think of like high school people. They're like, "Man, you still live in Waterford?"
Right?
It's like you need to move, bro.
But not everybody has that, and that's what I've realized. Not everybody has the ability or the mindset or the willingness to uproot, and take yourself somewhere else. And that's a unique breed. And I don't want to shit on the people who also stay because they might be more homebodies. Like that's just what they're comfortable with. That's what they want to do. But I think
and there's something about having that connection to your community because I don't have that.
Right.
But also us three are similar mindset where we're okay with I'm going to go here and do this without knowing people. We're very confident in ourselves, and we're okay with, hey, we can leave and just go to a new city. We can make friends, but we also have that close-knit community with our like close friends who are not around. Like Jared, you and I, we haven't lived in the same city we're pushing 3 years? 3?
Something like, I mean, I've been here for over 3.5, so yeah.
So 3.5 years, and we still are able to talk on the phone and have conversations, but you make your friends transition with you. You guys clearly have a podcast together. You guys are not even in the same remotely the same time zone. So our sense of friendship also, I think, helps the fact that we can uproot
sounds
and go
amazing, though,
else.
doesn't everyone?
It does.
Yeah. I mean,
nice ring to it.
This is a very bromantic podcast. Let me
That's all Chad. That's all Chad. Because I fight all of that bromance.
Oh, yeah, you do, Jared.
I think if it was Don and I, it would be too much. Like it would just be an unhealthy level of bromance, just the way our personalities are.
It would be gross.
I wish I could just like drop the bromance song right now, but I don't have it queued up. Because do you remember that song?
Some bromance song for you. I have college friends like that where they still, like, for example, I assume he never listens to this, so I'll just say his name, Chris. Chris Blaker. I always wish that he would like get out of Michigan. Like I can almost feel like whenever I hear like some sort of like frustrations he has with like work, and this is not just him. I just focus on him because he's the first one, because he's my good friend. But like I've heard this for a bunch of people where it's like I think you just need to like get out of your comfort zone for a bit. Is really what it comes down to.
Definitely.
And it's like don't worry too much about this or that, but just like. I just get a different perspective on life, and it'll help you not worry about these small things that you find so important or so destructive to your life or whatever it is.
I think it also makes you value your hometown a lot more if you leave it for a little bit.
Yes, fully agree.
Or not, but either way, it's a good lesson to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hometowns, what a thing. But also, it's very interesting, though, me being transplanted. So I've been dating my girlfriend for like 2.5 years. Coming to her hometown, which is Fairfield, California, the best way to put it, it is like being in distance-wise for you to fathom. It's like Albion to Detroit was like an hour and a half. That's the distance between like San Francisco and Sacramento, and Ann Arbor's right in the middle, and Fairfield's right in the middle. But her hometown is way different. Like, there's no town here. Like, there's no downtown they go out in. There's no like Midwest town. It's like,
weird.
It's like these are made cities. Like, they're not like they're made because like people just stretched out from San Francisco going farther over. I have never been to downtown Fairfield. I don't know what downtown Fairfield looks like, and that's weird to me that there's like.
Where do they? So when like if you were to be in Fairfield and your girlfriend and you want to go a night out somewhere, where would you go? Not go to Fairfield and just stay in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Is that really what you do?
No, seriously. Like, we would just, like, if we want to go out, we go to a bar, we drive there, then have to drive somewhere else, then drive somewhere else. There's no, like, I don't even know.
But they're kind of like the strip mall, like malls or
strip malls. Like, we went to a really great sushi place last night, and it was like a strip mall sushi place. Great sushi, some of the best sushi, but it was just like, that's what they kind of do.
You don't get that. It's hard to get that town feel when it's just nondescript strip malls, really.
No, wow. I'm looking right now, and this is crazy. Like, what Don and I and even Jared are used to in terms of downtown, this looks way different in Fairfield. You're 100% right.
Did you type in downtown Fairfield
on Google Images?
Like
I'm looking this up.
I mean, it looks like kind of like strip mall-y and like a street, but it doesn't look like a downtown, like a set place.
Yeah, because their downtown ranges.
It looks like a main drag kind of.
What does your girlfriend think of like your connection to Ann Arbor? Because I'm sure she's commented on the fact that you're obsessed with your home. Has she not?
Yeah, she does. She's like, you have this weird tie to Ann Arbor and like the University of Michigan. But I think she starts to see it though when there's a different level of like, I don't know. She understands that
Did it help when she actually went to Michigan to see it in live? I think that would help.
Yeah,
has she been there?
Understood. Yeah, she has been there multiple times.
Okay.
So she's been there. She gets kind of why. I mean, she does get annoyed that I know so many people and make so many conversations and get very distracted.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
But I think that's everybody who's around me. I'm a social butterfly. But yeah, I think she gets it a little bit more. I mean, it's weird for me to be in Fairfield, but also it's refreshing to be here because like.
Did she grow up in? Is that like where she spent her entire childhood?
Yeah. Her parents grew up in like the San Francisco area. They were both like the first generation people born in the States. And so it's just a very different like upbringing. And so I don't know.
Do they have that connection to their neighbors?
No.
Connection to their neighbors?
Fuck no.
No. They know some of them, or
they know them, but like they won't say hi. Like
right, you're not
just
walking up to their door like it's nothing.
Yeah, like I've never said hi to. I don't think I've seen many of their neighbors, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe seen like one.
Is that might just be like a full on like Midwest versus West Coast thing.
Definitely.
Midwest people can't help but say hello to everyone that they pass, especially in their own neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like it's one thing is in like Ubers, people can tell, be like, or I can tell now because I've been Ubers long enough. I'm like, I can tell just by conversation at Uber Pool. Like if another ride gets, I'm like, you're not from California, are you? They're like, oh yeah, I'm from the Midwest.
Because they're friendly.
Because they're friendly, and like you can hold a conversation, and that is that happens a lot. So for those who don't know, I since I don't have a car, I Uber pooled my way to the climbing gym in the morning, and I go quite early, but I do talk to people in Uber because I'm a social butterfly, and so you're
one of those Midwesterners.
You learn a lot about different people being in Uber pools. I kind of want to do a podcast being a driver in Uber pools, but I don't have a car.
Ugh, I would hate getting into that car. Like, get that microphone out of my face.
Well, I would just like to talk about my experience.
I mean, a lot of people would like it, though. But I feel like if I were to oh, you would be the passenger. I thought you meant you would be the driver and, like, interview.
Just document your experiences.
I bet that would be a good podcast. I would just hate to have that microphone put into my face.
I mean, you'd have to have some friendly Midwestern passengers.
When I'm in an Uber, what I do is I put in my headphones firmly
I'm not even surprised by that.
And I listen to a song. A lot of the times, I listen to the Song of the Pod playlist on YouTube that you'll find on our Untranslatable podcast.
I cannot wait to hear Song of the Pod. By the way, you should have it be a video this time because you're showing a video, so you should pull the YouTube video up so you can loop it in. I'm just saying. Because the video for this one is pretty epic.
He's not wrong.
So anyway.
So Jared, first of all, I'm curious. I
do everything.
How did you find this song?
You're gonna hate me so much for that.
I'm not gonna do it.
Yes, you are.
I listened to I was listening to a podcast and I was looking at Twitter and there was just someone that mentioned Icelandic rap and I just went on this weird rabbit hole looking at Icelandic rap and I stumbled upon a group called Ulfur. And that is Icelandic for wolf. Because according to one where I read, they're both aggressive and very cuddly. And the name of the song I found is Brennum, which is Icelandic for burn. And they repeat that over and over again. And what I like about it, one, it's very catchy. It's a great rap song. I mean, it's a great rap song for what it is. But they're not American. But what I liked about it is we recently did an episode on code switching, and they do a very fun style of code switching where the only words that us non-Icelandic speakers understand are the swear words and the drug references.
Yes.
Those were...
I swear I heard ayahuasca once or twice in there.
They say ayahuasca. Yeah, they say ayahuasca.
Yeah. I think I heard some other drug too, but I definitely heard ayahuasca. That was the one that was very clear. And every time they said fuck or shit or something like that, it was in English. And I mean, that's what I like about any sort of song that is not done by native English speakers. Is that most non-native English speakers are way more willing to play around with code switching in music, where they throw in words that are not English, whether it's, it doesn't even have to be throwing in an English word, but throwing in a non-native word. And it gives you so much more freedom and options to play with as far as your lyrics and what fits. I love that.
Yep.
And it's just fun. And they just had a funny way to do it and they committed to it. So I thought that was cool.
And this beat is fire.
Yes.
It's catchy. This is a banger, an Icelandic banger, a bangada.
I did bump it in the car 2 or 3 times on my drive,
nice.
And I was like, this is getting downloaded to my Apple Music after this.
Right.
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of fans actually of Ulfur all around the world, and I found the lyrics translated.
Have you heard of them?
I have not. This was my.
Oh, okay.
But I found the lyrics and found a translation in English.
Yes.
And basically, I've got the gist of the song. It seems like a lot of this talks about how the way society is going, maybe also more specifically in Iceland, I'm not sure, but that people are becoming more and more materialistic. Life is about like having all these cool things to show, but that's not really what life is. Yeah. So,
you're not going to give us any of the lyrics?
Oh, I can. Sure.
Were there any good ones?
Thousands of souls have different fantasies. No one is the same. Common, although each relies on a mirror and smoke. Do not need anything, but I dream of more. 2 for 1. So materialism, I guess, right? Something that provides peace and tranquility, but is forgotten at the same time.
It's funny how these lyrics make the song sound so much smarter than it looks in the music video. It looks like they're just bawling.
Right.
It's like, there's actually saying stuff here.
Right. Right.
Whenever I see a horse just walking down anywhere, I'm just like, what is going on? I used to wonder how is he so calm on the horse? That's my main
Maybe
thing.
he does dressage in his spare time.
I think
you never know.
I don't know. Do Icelandic people enjoy dressage? I don't know much about Iceland.
I don't either. We'll have to see. Maybe in the future we'll have to do our research and do an Iceland episode.
On the road again.
Right.
But to loop this back, Chad, did you ever ride a horse in Dexter?
Not in Dexter. I know a lot of people that do. I know people who own a couple like really nice, like I don't know what the right term is, like a horse farm. I don't know what the right term is. Yeah. But no, I rode horses elsewhere. Didn't ride them in Dexter. But a lot of people do. A lot of country bumpkins in Dexter, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of space.
I've heard it's been called stalls or malls for which
So-
which way
I like
which
that.
way your
That's-
daughter goes.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I like that. That's
So
funny.
if you're on your way to the stall or mall, check out Ulfur Brenum and bang that shit.
That's right. Check it out on our Twitter.
Now, speaking of banging that shit, Chad's about to bang out another Czech word of the pod. And keep in mind, next time, Chad's about to explain to us how he applied a Czech phrase of the pod.
And I already know how I'm going to use this one, actually. So this...
All right, well, don't tell us.
I won't. But this... I mean, once I tell you what the words mean, I think you can use your imagination. But anyways, my Czech word, and this time Czech words of the pod, is rodné město. Any guesses what that might mean?
Donald?
One more time.
Rodnie Miesto. Woo!
There we go. Got it, Jared.
I'm very impressed how you guys can articulate different. I guess it makes sense. You guys do speak other languages because I can butcher. I butcher just about everything.
Barely. I'm losing to my German, but...
Oh, I don't even know. One more time. Let me give myself another.
Jared, you got it?
Rodnie Miesto.
I know no Czech, so this.
I mean, I don't know what I mean. I have no idea either, to be fair. I don't know.
Come on, guys. You guys both have
Good
your
morning.
thinking caps on. Come on.
No, it's not good morning, because good morning would have heshki in it.
Nope. Good morning is dobre rano.
Oh. Okay. See, I was close, though. I didn't get dobry.
Yeah, you were close.
I was going to say dobry den, though. but
That's good day. Uh-huh.
Thank you. Next.
All right. It means,
That's
are you guys ready? It means hometown.
I hope it's thank you next. Oh,
fuck.
Too easy.
Of course.
It was right in front of your faces. That's why you didn't get it. Too easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so rodné město is hometown. Město can also mean town. I think also city as well. But I could be wrong about that. Like if you go to Prague, they have Nové Město, which means like new city or new town. Then they have Staré Město, which is like the old part of town, which is really historic and beautiful. All right. So in hopes of sharing some laughs, I have a joke of the pod. This one is inspired by living in Michigan. And I am almost willing to bet either of you can probably guess the punchline, but I'm going to ask it anyways. So, gentlemen, what are the 2 seasons of weather in Michigan?
Construction, not construction.
Yes, I was going to say winter and construction, but yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it is winter construction.
To me, it's just one or the other because you don't even throw winter as a season. It's just shitty driving.
I was watching. There was a section of I-75 that I saw on Twitter a couple weeks ago
They're still
that
doing work
literally involved like cars losing control. Like it was a pothole so big that there was a truck that like the trailer jackknifed and somehow he like regained control.
Oh, nice.
But it was just the pothole so big that it threw the whole trailer off kilter.
Sounds like Michigan right there. Michigan in the sentence right there.
Speaking of drivers, I've noticed in California, people cannot drive here. Like, there was an accident. We were driving up towards Sacramento yesterday, and there's an accident on the other side of the highway, and the lane that we were going in, not the accident side, fully slowed down to a crawl for about 15 miles.
I mean, that happens everywhere.
No,
that happens everywhere.
But it's just like, no, there's
that level
there's,
of rubbernecking.
No, but there's accidents like we can't do a drive without seeing at least 2 accidents. Like every time we're in the car for more than like 20, 30 minutes, there's an accident. Consistently,
Interesting.
each way we went, there's accidents.
You're not going to see that in Michigan, I would say, for the most part.
No. Also, there's less people per capita, so
Yeah, that's also true.
statistically less
Right.
drivers.
All right, Chad,
with accidents.
give it to us.
All right, so, I had a quote of the pod prepared, but I have to say, I was so impressed with what Don said earlier about hometowns. I'm going to try, it's not going to be verbatim, but I'm going to try to sum up the gist of it, of what Don said, because I thought it was really great.
This is what we do at the Untranslatable podcast. Steal our guest stuff and claim it as our own.
That's right. And so, Don, feel free to correct me or repeat it in a better way. But I think the gist of what I got was, your hometown is where a lot of your family and your friends are, but really your home is where the people are that you love.
I would say that hits the nail on the head.
Parada. Well, perfect. Well, Don, we really want to thank you so much for being on here. This has been a great episode. A lot of great insights from you. Dropped some serious knowledge bombs, I would say, or truth bombs. So we thank you so much for being on here. Jared, as always, thank you for all the amazing work you do as well. Check us out on Twitter, Untranslatable1. Also check out our Instagram page, Untranslatable Podcast. Shoot us an email, untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us about your hometowns. Give us some untranslatables. Also, if you have anything you would like us to cover, let us know. Although we still have quite a few topic ideas still in the books, so we'll discover some of those later. We thank you all so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And until next time, we'll talk to you then. And as we say at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme.